I just wanted to say a word beyond this event and this cause being about who we are. I had reason to want to come because, and it really feeds off what I heard Wendy talking about, 36 years ago, and you sort of count the years as you're sitting here thinking of when it was, in 1979, I had the opportunity to go across the country, and I went to Toronto, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Fort McMurray, Yellowknife, and Vancouver. And the sole purpose of the trip was to go to see the efforts that were being made in those cities at that time to welcome and help settle the Vietnamese refugees. And it was one of the most remarkable experiences I've had in my life to see. It said a lot about them and it said a lot about us, because it said a lot about them because they were people who had had unspeakable experiences in their lives very recently, having been in some cases in refugee camps for some lengthy period of time. It said a lot about us because in all of these places across the country at that time, people got together just as is being talked about today and just as has been described, and they got together as a community. It wasn't really about what the government was doing. The government took the step, as it has today, of saying that we're going to have a certain number of these refugees welcomed into Canada, and then the community took over. And the community in the broadest sense of the word, church groups and individuals and families and social service agencies like Costi and so on. And I've had the good fortune during the most recent election campaign to go to an event in the Vietnamese community and meet people, some of whom even said they had met me before during this time back in 1979, but I heard the stories that were very similar to what Wendy described in terms of how well these people have done and what a contribution they have made and continue to make, and their children and grandchildren to this country. And so to me, this is not only what we're about, but it's what we can do and have proven we can do before, and it's being done the right way, where it's a community-based thing that is going to rely on the resources of all the people here and many others to make this happen. And so I would just like to see a repeat, and when I hear the question asked as to whether this is happening in other cities, and here not really as yet, I would simply say to my colleagues who I spent some time with last week, it would have been better if I could be going to see them now, but I was with them in Edmonton last week, and I would say, just in no particular order to single people out, Jim Watson in Ottawa, and Don Iveson in Edmonton, and Nahid Nenshi in Calgary, and Gregor Robertson in Vancouver, just to start with some of the bigger cities that I visited and saw the magic of 1979-80 and that period with the Vietnamese refugees. Let's show that we can do this again for the Syrian refugees, and Toronto is leading the way, as it often does, thanks to people like Ratna and all the people up here. And I would just hope as the mayor that I can lend a helping hand to that, and that those other mayors will respond in kind, and we might see press conferences being held sometime in, I would say the next 4 weeks, because that would give them time to get organized like this, and show that we can have that total looked after in no time by the generosity of those people in those cities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We really appreciate those words of support. The Premier is behind us. The Mayor, now we see, wants us to succeed. We know that Minister Alexander is relying on, to some extent, on our work to meet his targets. My last call is, let's look for private sponsors in unusual places. Think of your book club. Think of the IT department if you work in a big organization. Think of your street. Think of your school communities. We will come knocking. Thank you so much, and wish us well again.